What do you do when a single mistake destroys your entire life? Is it possible to regain your family's trust after you've lost everything? This is the story of Carl, a raw and painful account of betrayal, remorse, and the struggle to start over. Watch until the end. You might just see yourself or someone you know in this story. The price of infidelity. Carl always felt confident behind the wheel. He'd been driving since he was young. Now, as he heads back from the suburbs after visiting his elderly mother, he drives slowly, soft music playing in the background. His mother is 87, but still on her feet, tending to her little garden as best she can. Carl, her youngest son, is almost 50 himself, but he feels 25 and looks young for his age. He brought his mother groceries, fixed a few things around the house, chopped and stacked firewood. When he's driving, he stays focused. The highway into the city is busy, especially with those huge trucks speeding by. He can already see the city lights in the distance, but he's in no rush. No one is waiting for him. Not many men his age live alone. Most have families. But Carl knows it's his own fault. He doesn't blame anyone for ending up alone. I should have used my own head instead of following my friends and getting distracted by other women. He often scolds himself. They say, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone." And that's exactly what happened to me. I got used to always having a wife waiting for me. The best wife, and I took it for granted. Carl has been living alone in a rented apartment for almost 2 years now. He created this situation himself, and he can't seem to get out of it. He met his future wife, Diana, in college. They dated for a year and decided to get married after graduation. Diana was in a parallel program, tall, beautiful, with dark hair and striking blue eyes. It was those eyes that made Carl fall in love with her, and he still loves her to this day. As planned, they got married after college. The wedding was lively and full of friends. The young couple was happy, and both sets of parents were pleased. They built a good life together, worked hard, and soon had a son with his mother's beautiful eyes, and later a daughter who looked just like Carl. Carl was ambitious and quickly started his own business. Diana helped him with everything, even with 2 kids to care for. She managed it all, and Carl tried to protect her from too much stress. "Diana, don't take on so much. I can handle the paperwork and the accounting. You need to rest. You already do so much with the kids. How do you manage it all?" "It's fine, Carl. I feel good and I want to help you. I want to be useful," Diana would say, hugging him, and he knew he couldn't do it without her. Life was good. The kids grew up, started school, and the business was going well. But then, out of nowhere, Carl lost his business. Diana took over, working hard to support the family. Carl behaved terribly, but then guilt would hit him and he'd say, "Diana, I'm sorry. I'm not acting like a real man. I take it out on you, but it's not your fault. I missed the warning signs. My brother told me this could happen, but I was too sure of myself." Diana endured all of Carl's failures in silence, never giving up. Eventually, Carl got back on his feet, and together they rebuilt the business. Their son finished high school and went off to college in the city. Their daughter was in her final years of school. One day, Diana told him, "Honey, I've been offered a high-paying job." I said yes, but I'll be really busy at first. What do you think? The business is stable, and I want to do what I love. I don't mind, Diana. We're doing fine financially. Do you really need to work so hard? Carl hesitated. Carl, you can never have too much money. If I've been offered a good job that I enjoy, why not take it? Whatever you think is best. If you want to do it, I support you, he replied. Time passed. Diana threw herself into her new job, and Carl kept working too. But then came the moment he still can't forgive himself for. He wishes he could close his eyes, erase everything and start over, but life doesn't work that way. Despite Diana's busy schedule, they weren't strangers. She was still his beloved wife and best friend. But many of Carl's friends started divorcing their wives and dating younger women. A classic midlife crisis. Carl never planned to leave Diana. He loved her. But guys' nights out, fishing trips, saunas started to change. Friends brought their new girlfriends. There was drinking, laughter, and a sense of freedom. That's when Kate appeared in Carl's life. A friend said, "Come on, Carl, we're all here with our girlfriends and you're alone. You don't want your wife to see this, so here's Kate. You don't have to marry her, just have some fun. You can do that, right?" Kate was a friend of one of the other women. Carl gave in easily, and when he went home to Diana, he didn't feel guilty. What's the big deal? It happened, that's all. Diana will never find out, he told himself. But it didn't stop at one time. There was a second, a third. Soon Carl found himself drawn to Kate. She lived alone and they met at her place. It was pure passion he couldn't resist. He started picking fights with Diana over nothing, blowing up small issues. Diana sensed something was wrong. Women always know. She confronted him. "Carl, why are you starting fights over nothing? Is it just an excuse to leave the house? I'm not holding you back. I don't know for sure, but I suspect you have another woman. Otherwise, how do you explain your behavior?" "Oh, come on. You're just being paranoid. Maybe I have business problems," Carl deflected, but Diana wasn't fooled. This time the fight ended with Carl packing a few things and leaving. He called Kate, who welcomed him with open arms. She'd been waiting for this. Diana understood everything and accepted it. She didn't beg or try to find out where he was. The first month with Kate felt like paradise. She pampered him, cooked huge meals, gave him back rubs, doted on him. Carl was in bliss. But then his older brother, Arthur, called. "Carl, what are you doing? Wake up. Why did you leave Diana? Don't you get it? Without your wife, you're nothing. Your business survives because of her. If you don't go back, I'll lose all respect for you." "Arthur, you're wrong. I feel great with Kate. You have no idea what kind of woman she is." "I'll introduce you," Carl protested. Arthur stood firm. "You'll remember my words. I only respect Diana, no one else." Diana filed for divorce. Carl didn't fight for the apartment. After all, they had kids and that was sacred. His daughter stopped talking to him, wouldn't answer his calls. A year passed. Life with Kate changed. As soon as the divorce was final, she started demanding money, wouldn't let him send money to his kids. There was always something. Fixing the roof, remodeling, helping her parents. The demands never stopped. Kate herself changed. She became lazy, unkempt. Her friends came over to drink in the evenings. When Carl complained, she said, "What's your problem? I wanted you, I got you. Now deal with it. No more massages, the passion's gone, this is real life. Don't like my friends? Well, you live in my apartment. You didn't want to split yours, so deal with it." Carl finally realized what he'd lost. There was no warmth, nothing to eat. He often cooked for himself. He saw the full horror of his situation. My God, what have I done to Diana and the kids? Who did I trade my beloved wife for? Why didn't I see it sooner? What did Diana and the kids go through? He couldn't take it anymore. He packed his things and left Kate. Now he lives alone in a rented apartment, with no one waiting for him. He tried to reconnect with his ex-wife. "Diana, we need to talk. I'm sorry I hurt you. I miss you and the kids. I forgive you, but I don't want to talk. I'm in a new relationship with a good, loyal man. I'm getting married soon. I wish you happiness. As for the kids, work it out yourself. They're adults now," Diana replied calmly. Carl pulled up to his apartment building. The windows were dark. No one was waiting for him. He thought, "My brother was right. I should have listened. My business is falling apart. Maybe he can help or at least give advice. I feel so sorry for myself. I ruined my own life." Carl got out of the car and headed to his empty apartment. He knows it's empty. He doesn't even know how to fix his life, how to pull himself together. He finally realized that without the woman he loved, his life would probably never get better. He can't accept that Diana is getting married. What now? Carl slowly climbed the stairs to his apartment. The hallway smelled of damp and old carpet. The light above the door flickered as if reminding him, no one was waiting here. He put the key in the lock, pushed the door open with his shoulder, and stepped into the dark apartment. Silence greeted him as always. Carl turned on the light, dropped his grocery bag on the kitchen table, and sat down heavily. His mind was spinning with thoughts that had haunted him for months. He remembered how he used to come home with joy, knowing that behind the door Diana and the kids were waiting for him. The smell of dinner, laughter, conversation. Now there was only emptiness. He pulled out his phone, opened his messages, and scrolled through his last conversation with his daughter. The last message he'd sent was a month ago. "Emily, how are you? Maybe we could meet up." There was no reply. His son too barely responded, short, polite messages, nothing more. Carl poured himself a shot of vodka, then another. He knew it wasn't the answer, but it was easier than thinking. Memories flooded his mind. Seeing Diana for the first time in college, holding his newborn son, building a treehouse with his daughter. "How did I lose all of this?" he whispered into the emptiness. He tried to justify himself. Everyone makes mistakes, everyone has a crisis. But deep down he knew he was the only one to blame. At some point the weight became too much. He sat down on the floor, leaned against the wall, and for the first time in years he cried. "God, why did this happen to me?" he choked out. The night passed in torment. Carl realized that if he didn't change, he would lose himself completely. He remembered his brother's words. "Stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's the most useless thing you can do." In the morning, with a pounding head, he got up, splashed cold water on his face, and for the first time in a long while, looked at himself in the mirror. "That's enough. I have to try to start over. For the kids. For myself." He pulled out his old laptop and started searching job sites. Once a business owner used to freedom, now he was looking for any job, anything to keep from sitting at home. After several failed interviews, Carl got a job as a taxi driver. "Not exactly my dream," he smirked, "but it's something." The first shifts were tough. Carl wasn't used to following other people's rules, or to rude and indifferent passengers. But gradually he started to notice. Every person who got into his car had their own story. Some were heading to a date, some to visit a sick parent, some just going home after a long day. One evening, he picked up an elderly woman. She sat in the back seat, folded her hands neatly on her purse, and quietly said, "Union Station, please." She was silent for most of the ride, but then suddenly spoke up. "You know, young man, I spent my whole life with one man. He cheated on me, he drank, but I forgave him. because I realized that if I didn't, I'd destroy myself. And when he got sick, I took care of him until the very end. And you know what? I don't regret a thing." Carl listened, saying nothing. Her words struck a chord. "Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting," she continued. "It means letting go of the pain and giving yourself a chance at a new life." When she got out, Carl sat for a long time, staring into the rearview mirror. "Maybe it's time I forgive myself too," he thought. From that day, he started to see life differently. He stopped feeling sorry for himself, became more attentive to people, and began to notice meaning even in the simplest things. He called his mother more often, helped his neighbors, sometimes just walked around the city to avoid being trapped in four walls. For the first time in a long while, Carl felt he could change. Slowly, with mistakes, but he had a chance. The next day, Carl hesitated for a long time before writing to his daughter. He opened the Messenger app, typed out short phrases, and deleted them right away. Nothing seemed right. Nothing sounded the way he wanted. But one evening, after an especially tough shift, he just sat down at the table and started writing a real letter, long, honest, from the heart. "Emily, I don't know how to start. I know I've caused you and your mom a lot of pain. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know. I miss you so much. I miss our home. I miss the times when we were a family. I was weak, selfish, only thinking about myself. If you ever want to talk, I'll always be here. Love you, Dad." He sent the letter and didn't expect a reply. But somehow he felt a little lighter. A few days later, Carl decided to call his son. The boy didn't answer right away, and when he did, his voice was distant, almost like a stranger's. "Hey, Dad." "Hey, Mike. How are you?" "I'm fine. Studying, working. Maybe we could meet up? Just to talk." "I don't know. I'm not ready yet." "I understand. Just know, I'm always happy to see you." That evening, Carl sat down again and wrote another letter, this time to his son. He didn't make excuses or complain, just told him about his life, his job, and how much he missed his kids. Weeks went by. There was no answer from Emily or Mike. But Carl didn't give up. He kept writing. Short messages, postcards, sometimes just old childhood photos he found in his albums. One day, coming home after a shift, he saw a new message on his phone. Mike had written, "Dad, let's meet. Saturday at the cafe on Main." On the appointed day, Carl arrived early. Mike came in, sat across from him, and was silent for a long time. "I can't forgive you right now," he finally said. "But maybe someday I will." "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Carl replied quietly. "I just want to be around if you'll let me." They didn't talk for long, but Carl felt something shift. Slowly, painfully, he was getting a chance to bring his kids back into his life. A year passed. Spring came early and warm to the city. Carl tried not to dwell on the past, but memories still crept in, especially in the evenings after his shifts. One day, while picking up groceries at the supermarket, he suddenly saw Diana. She was standing by the fruit display, next to a tall, confident man in his 50s. They were laughing, talking, and looked genuinely happy. Carl froze, unsure what to do. Should he leave? Go say hello? His heart pounded. Diana noticed him first. Their eyes met, and without hesitation she walked over. "Hi, Carl," she said calmly, though there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Hi, Diana," he replied, trying to smile, but it came out awkward. The man came over and Diana introduced him. "This is Andrew, my friend." "Nice to meet you," Carl nodded, feeling out of place. Andrew smiled politely and went to the checkout, leaving the former spouses alone. "You look good," Diana said. "Thanks. You too." Carl didn't know what else to say. There was a pause. Diana broke the silence first. "I heard you're driving a cab now. How are you?" "I'm living. Trying to change." "I'm glad you found the strength." "Diana, I just want to say thank you. For everything. For the kids. For being by my side all those years. You were a good husband until you became someone else," she said gently. "I've forgiven you, but our paths have parted. I understand. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know I'm grateful." Diana smiled, genuinely warmly like she used to when they were young. "Take care of yourself, Carl. And don't lose touch with the kids. They need a father, even if we're not together." She went back to Andrew and Carl stood in the middle of the store, feeling a strange sense of relief. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel jealousy or anger, just gratitude and a gentle sadness. He realized the past was truly gone. Now everything depended on him. After seeing Diana, Carl couldn't shake the feeling for days. He realized that jealousy and resentment were gone, replaced by emptiness and a desire to become better. Not for anyone else but for himself. That same night, he threw out all the bottles from his apartment, promising himself he wouldn't look for comfort in alcohol anymore. He started waking up early, going for runs in the park. At first it was hard, his body resisted, his breathing was heavy, but with each day it got easier. Carl felt his strength returning, and with it a desire to live. He joined a gym and met a few men his age who had also gone through divorce or loss. Together they went on bike rides, hiking trips, and discussed books and movies. For the first time in years, Carl felt like part of a group where no one judged or pitted him. He visited his mother more often, helped her around the house, and listened to her stories about her own struggles. She looked at her son with pride and quiet joy. She could see he was changing. Even his job as a taxi driver started to bring satisfaction. Carl learned to listen to people, not interrupt, and not give advice unless asked. Sometimes passengers shared their own stories about love, betrayal, forgiveness, and new beginnings. He realized that everyone has their own path, their own mistakes, and their own chances at happiness. In the evenings, Carl walked around the city, noticing how the streets changed, how children laughed on playgrounds, how lights came on in the windows of homes. He learned to appreciate simple things. A cup of hot tea, good weather, a stranger's smile. Inside, he gradually felt a sense of gratitude growing, for the chance to start over, for his children's health, for still being able to help others. One evening, as Carl was about to finish his shift, a woman in her mid-40s got into his cab. She looked tired but well-kept, with an attentive gaze and a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Good evening. Maple Street, please," she said, buckling her seatbelt. They rode in silence for a while, but at a red light she suddenly asked, "Have you been driving a cab long?" "Almost a year," Carl replied. "What about you? What do you do?" "I'm a doctor. Recently divorced," she admitted unexpectedly. "Everything feels pointless, but I guess that'll pass." Carl felt her words resonate with him. "I went through a divorce recently too," he said quietly. "At first it feels like life is over, but then you start to notice there's still light around you." She smiled. "I'm Mary." "Carl." They started talking. Mary shared how hard it was to let go of the past, how she feared loneliness, and how she was learning to live again. Carl opened up about his own struggles, not hiding his pain or mistakes. When they reached her destination, Mary lingered for a moment. "Thank you for the conversation. I haven't felt understood in a long time. If you ever want to talk again, here's my number," Carl said, handing her a business card. The next day Mary texted him, "Thank you for last night. It meant a lot to talk." From then on, they started texting, sometimes meeting for walks or coffee. They were connected not just by their pasts, but by a shared desire to move forward and not get stuck in old wounds. Gradually, a warm friendship developed between them. No illusions, no rush, just support, understanding, and respect. For the first time in a long while, Carl felt he could be needed by someone not as a husband or father, but simply as a person. He didn't rush to call it love, but deep inside, a new hope began to grow. Maybe, just maybe, there was something bright ahead for him after all. Time passed and Carl's life slowly filled with new meaning. He saw Mary more and more often. They walked in the park, discussed books, and shared stories from their pasts. But despite new friendships and changes, the biggest pain for Carl remained his relationship with his children. One evening, after returning home from a walk with Mary, Carl found an envelope in his mailbox. The handwriting was neat and familiar. "To Dad." His heart raced. He hurried upstairs, barely taking off his coat, and opened the letter. "Dad, it took me a long time to decide to write to you. I was hurt, angry, and upset. But I see that you're changing. I read your letters, look at your photos, and I want to believe that we can try to start over. My birthday is coming up soon. If you want, come. I'd be happy to see you. Emily." Carl read the letter over and over, hardly believing his luck. He didn't sleep all night, remembering how he used to hold Emily in his arms, teach her to ride a bike, and build tree houses together. On her birthday, he arrived early, nervous about how he'd be received and what he should say. But when Emily opened the door, she simply hugged him and Carl knew. It was all worth it. "I can see you've changed," she whispered. "Let's try to be a family again, even if it's different now." Mike was at the party too. At first, he kept his distance, but later he came up to his father. "I want to try too. Just don't let us down, okay?" Carl fought back tears. He realized he'd been given a second chance. Now everything depended on him. From that day on, his relationship with his children began to heal. They met up, went to the movies, talked about life, and shared their plans. Carl didn't try to bring back the past. He learned to be present, to listen, to support, and to simply love his kids for who they were. A few months went by, and Carl felt his life filling with a new sense of purpose. He no longer idealized himself or expected miracles. He just tried to be honest, attentive, and grateful for each day. His relationship with Mary developed slowly and gently. They didn't rush to call themselves a couple, but both knew they could trust each other and be themselves together. Sometimes they visited Carl's mother, helped around the house, and had family dinners. Carl's mom was happy to see her son smiling again. His bond with his children grew warmer. Emily called often, shared her news, and asked for advice. Mike invited his dad to soccer games or just came over to talk. Carl didn't try to force himself into their lives. He was simply there when they needed him. One warm summer evening, Carl decided to bring everyone together for dinner. He invited Emily, Mike, Mary, and his mother. The atmosphere was light and almost like old times. There was laughter, memories, and talk about the future. When dessert was served, Carl raised his glass. "I'm not asking you to forget my mistakes. I'm not a perfect father or a perfect man. But I want to be here if you'll let me. I want us to be a family, Not like before, but a real one. Emily smiled and took his hand. Mike nodded. Mary looked at him with warmth and support. That night, for the first time in many years, Carl felt truly needed and loved. He understood. The past couldn't be changed, but he could build something new, step by step with gratitude and hope. He stepped out onto the balcony, breathed in the warm air, and looked at the city lights. The future was uncertain, but it no longer scared him. Carl knew he had the strength to move forward, to love, to forgive, and to be happy no matter what. Carl's story isn't just about betrayal, mistakes, and losing a family. It's about how a person can hit rock bottom, but still find the strength to get up, change, and try to regain the trust of loved ones. We all make mistakes, but not everyone is brave enough to admit them and start over. After hearing this story, one question remains. Does Carl deserve forgiveness? Is it possible to forgive infidelity, betrayal, and neglect? Or are there some actions that can never be forgotten, even if someone is truly sorry and has changed? Forgiveness isn't just a chance for the one who's hurt you. It's also a way to let go of pain and move forward yourself. What do you think? Should Carl's children and ex-wife have forgiven him? Would you be able to forgive someone like him? If this story resonated with you, please give it a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There are many more real, honest, and dramatic stories about love, betrayal, and forgiveness ahead. Your opinion matters, to me and to everyone in our community.